So I only met Sid and Alicia 2 days ago. I was at the Car Classic in Pasadena, and there was a group of people around this car. So we decided that this car needs to be shown to the world. So when Sid and Alicia picked up this car, which was in rough shape, they sent it to Borbon Fabrications in Sacramento, California to do the job. Took a year, took a lot of money, but in the end, what we have now is the first official licensed Batmobile ever built.
It's sort of like nobody knew that there was a Batmobile running around before George Barris's car. You know, until 2008, this car was, God, forgotten since 1968, 69, when it just lay there. It was really George Albright, who's a well-known car historian, that researched it and said, wow, this is the first real Batmobile. When we contacted him, he said, look, I've got 5 or 6 cars I'm restoring right now. If you can get it restored, and you promise me you'll do it, I'll sell you the project.
I purchased the car because I knew that Mario can restore it. Mario is a very talented car restorer. He has a shop in Sacramento. And he looked at the car and thought, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. But he's resourceful, he's very creative and superbly capable, and a great mechanic.
My name is Mario Borbon from Borbon Fabrications. I always knew what I was going to do. I was either going to work on motorcycles or on cars. I think maybe it's from the accidents that I had as a young kid, you know. My first car lasted me 30 days, so I had to learn how to fix them. It may sound kind of funny, but it's, although it's just a car, it's something that I've become very close to.
So the car was built by Forrest Robinson. He was 23 years old. At the time, he was experimenting with new material called fiberglass.
In the late 1940s is when they first started with the fiberglass kit cars. I think Forrest was really the first guy that got the idea, instead of just taking a standard model, let's create something fantastic of our own.
He wasn't very wealthy, you know, he was a young kid, you know, he didn't have a bunch of money, you know, and this guy had a welder, a grinder, and some hand tools. That's all he had. So actually, you know, for being that age and building a car like that, it was, it's actually pretty amazing.
It was the one and only car he ever did. His real calling in life was probably an auto designer.
Holy shit.
At that time, it had the Oldsmobile Rocket 324 cubic inch engine. This was the first really big V8, and it was the predecessor to all the muscle cars.
Some people may remember that in 1943 there was a Batman serial, and yes, he did drive a car. But when you look at it, it wasn't really a Batmobile. There were no Bat references, there was no Bat design to it. It was just simply a Cadillac Bruce Wayne owned that Alfred chauffeured them around in. So when it came time to actually have a real Batmobile, don't trust in DC to build it, trust in a fan.
I saw an interview with his grandson. The kid's exact words was, well, what he told me was, back then we thought the Batmobile was really neat, so we decided to build our own. Simple as that. Originally designed the car in 1960. Many of the features on the car were reminiscent of the 1950s comic book Batmobiles. If you look at the 1959 Batmobile in the DC Comics, it's a picture of Batman and Robin repairing one. And there it is, the bat face on the front of the car and the huge single dorsal fin in the back. By the time he was done, he probably didn't want to look like a teenage guy in a Batmobile, so he painted it this futuristic silver color that looked like something out of the Jetsons.
And the execs from All-Star Dairy noticed the car and approached Robinson, asking if they could use it to promote their line of Batman products.
Batman was so hot back then that pictures of Batman on their milk and call it Batman milk, Batman ice cream, Batman lemonade, their sales went up 20-fold. You know, when he phoned the execs at DC Comics, he said, "Do you ever remember dealing with the company All-Star Dairies with the Batmobile?" And he said, "Yeah, the Batmobile, we remember that." They rebadged it in the official Batman colors. They put the Batman stickers on, and that was the birth of the first officially licensed Batmobile.
Now, it is pretty easily recognizable as a Batmobile, but I don't think very many people actually know just how significant this car is.
What kind of car is that?
It's a Batmobile,
You serious?
the first one.
Do you own it?
No, I'm just driving it because I can. But it is quite an honor, and I don't use the word honor very often, but it's quite an honor to be able to drive the first Batmobile ever built. Because I don't think very many people have gotten to do this.
Alicia's always loved nice cars, me too. I was actually collecting Hot Wheels, and Mario, I guess, bit us with a bug to start going after real cars.
Well, what happened was we were on a little holiday in Florida. Sid had a phone call from my brother Henry, and I overhear the word Batmobile.
And I said, well, there's a link here, I'll show it to you. So Alicia looked at it.
And I could not believe what I was seeing. I loved the shape of the car. I was looking at a complete wreck. I'd call Mario right now and please tell him that we'll be wiring money for it today.
I knew it was the first Batmobile, but it quite hadn't hit me yet. When it showed up to Sacramento, it was overwhelming when it first got here. The one thing I didn't want this car to end up was to end up in the back of the body shop. And I threw money at this car. It's not like restoring, you know, let's say like a 356 Porsche or a 1970 Charger. Basically, redoing a lot of things that weren't done the first time, or maybe even actually making something better. I estimated 8 months. It turned out to be 10 months, 26 days. I was very lucky to actually create something at somebody else's expense. You know, I see this car sitting in my shop, restored, and it's almost like I don't really remember restoring this car. It's kind of like a dream.
He absolutely loved the process. He says that this is the most amazing job he has ever done.
He closed down his body shop, basically, and he would get up at 6 every morning and spend till 7, 8, 9, 10 in the evening working mostly himself, but it was really a labor of love, and it was a full year of his life.
My goal was to take a picture with George Barris, you know, next to this car. He was always really a nice guy, you know, and he asked whose car this was, and I said, well, it's partially mine, you know, it's my car, yeah. And he said, oh, it's very nice, and, you know, he really liked it. Taking the picture next to my Batmobile, it was a goal that I had, and it came through.
idea what sort of reaction the car will elicit, and we were shocked. There were crowds, literally crowds around the car.
No matter how many times I've seen that car, every time I walk up to it, I still have that wow, and I just want to look at it. It's just, it looks beautiful. Everyone from Jay Leno to George Barris just loved this car.
This car is better than it ever was. I can guarantee anybody that. I know for a fact if Forrest Robinson drove this car today, he would be stoked.
All the Batmobile designers love his car. They think it was gorgeous what he did. The lines, the whole thing was just so tastefully done. It's just beautiful.
You know, it's hard to believe, even today, for me, to say that this is the first Batmobile. It's almost like a dream.
Yeah, more than Batman or more than the car was just the journey. Taking something that was unknown, bringing this thing back to life, getting to know the original designers. It was a real journey for us, and that's something I'll take with me for the rest of my life.
This car is part of the American pop culture. It's part of the history.
It really was sort of the beginning of movie cars where anything became possible.
People are going to find out what this car is, you know. A car like this or any car that's been restored is to be looked at and touched, but I think people will enjoy it quite a bit. And I'm eager to share that with everybody. It's a very important piece of American history, you know.
We're going to take you from Batmobiles from the beginning today. This is the first Batmobile. We're going to show you more. We're going to go through all the Batmobiles we can. And I'm making it my mission to show you every Batmobile that was officially built. But Ben Affleck, we want to see your Batmobile.
Step on that baby. Step on it. There you go.